Once upon a time, in a kingdom far, far away, there lived a beautiful princess named Snow White. She had skin as white as snow, lips as red as roses, and hair as black as ebony. Snow White's beauty was known throughout the land, but her wicked stepmother, the queen, was consumed by jealousy. The queen couldn't bear the thought of anyone being more beautiful than she was. Every day, the queen would consult her magic mirror, asking, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" And the mirror would always reply, "You, my queen, are the fairest of them all." But as Snow White grew older, she became even more beautiful, and the queen's envy grew stronger. One day, when Snow White turned 18, the mirror gave a different answer. "You, my queen, are fair. It's true, but Snow White is fairer than you." The next morning, the queen told her huntsman to take Snow White into the forest and kill her. "Bring back her heart to prove she is dead," she ordered. The huntsman led the princess into the forest, but he could not kill her. He told Snow White to hide in the forest. Then he took an animal's heart to show the queen that the princess was dead. Snow White wandered deep into the forest. She was very scared, but the animals led her to a little cottage. Snow White knocked on the door and went inside. She wondered who could live in such a tiny house. There were 7 dusty little chairs at the table. In the sink there were 7 dirty spoons and bowls. And in the bedroom there were 7 unmade tiny beds. "Perhaps untidy children live here," Snow White said. So, with the help of her forest friends, Snow White dusted and cleaned the little cottage. Then she lay across 3 of the tiny beds and fell asleep. As soon as they entered the cottage, they knew something was wrong. It was clean. The floor had been swept, and there was a delicious smell coming from a pot on the fire. What happened? They asked each other in amazement. They searched the cottage for an intruder. They reached the bedroom just as Snow White was waking up. "Who are you?" they asked. "My name is Snow White," said Snow White. She explained what she was doing there. Then she asked the little men who they were. "I'm very pleased to meet you all," said Snow White. "If you let me stay here, I promise I'll look after the house for you. I'll wash and sew and cook." The dwarfs quickly agreed. That evening, the cottage was filled with music and laughter. The dwarfs sang and danced to welcome the princess to their home. Snow White was so happy that she soon forgot all about her wicked stepmother. Meanwhile, back in the castle, the wicked stepmother said the special words to the magic mirror, and the mirror replied, "Snow White, who dwells with the 7 dwarfs, is as fair as you and as fair again." The queen was furious. Snow White must still be alive, she screamed. She vowed to get rid of Snow White once and for all. Down in the dungeon, the queen cast a magic spell to disguise herself as an old peddler woman. Then, chanting a magic spell, she dipped a bright red apple into a pot of bubbling poison. "One bite of this and Snow White will fall into a sleep as if dead," she cackled. "Only a kiss from her true love will wake her." The very next day, after the dwarfs had left for work, the old peddler woman called on Snow White selling apples. "Try one, pretty maid," said the peddler, handing Snow White an apple. "One bite and all your dreams will come true." Snow White took one bite and fell to the floor as if dead. "Now I'm the fairest in the land," cried the wicked queen, before fleeing. Luckily, Snow White forest friends had seen what had happened, and went to fetch the 7 dwarfs. As the dwarfs rushed towards the cottage, they spotted the queen running away. They chased her through the forest and up the mountain. The wicked queen tried to roll a huge boulder on the dwarfs, but it rolled back and pushed her over the side of the mountain, never to be seen again. When the dwarfs returned to the cottage, they found Snow White lying on the floor as if she were dead. They could not wake her, so they took her into the forest. They placed her on a special bed and kept watch over her every day. One day, a handsome young man came riding through the forest. He was the prince who had fallen in love with Snow White by the castle well. When he saw the princess, he got down from his horse, leant over her, and kissed her. All at once, Snow White's eyes fluttered open. The wicked queen's spell was broken. Before Snow White left to begin her new life with the prince, "I'll come and see you very soon," she promised them. They knew they would miss her, but that also knew that she and the prince would live happily ever after.